thank you. Veronica, could you go ahead and do a roll call for us?
Okay. Jason Olive,
Here?
Martin Austin,
Here.
Joel Ward,
Here.
Bert Roars,
Here.
Patty Serrano. Here.
All right, thank you. Please join us in a Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you, everybody. Okay, first on our list of things to do today is our routine business, approval of minutes for the past meeting. Could I get a motion?
Mr. President, I move to approve the minutes of the October 18th, 2023 regular board meeting.
Thank you. Could I get a second, please?
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That one carries. Next is ratifying payroll and accounts payable. Could I get a motion, please?
I move to approve and ratify payroll and accounts payable vouchers.
Thank you. Could I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All those in favor of approving and ratifying payroll and accounts payable vouchers, please say aye.
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 Aye. All right. Next thing we get to do is listen to correspondence if there is any. Mr. Narducci, is there any correspondence?
President Olive, there is no correspondence at this time.
All right. Next we have our CUSD Innovative District Award. Ms. Ingersoll is going to present that for us.
Actually, President Olive, I would like to have, I believe it's Amber with ASU to present this award.
Okay, wonderful.
If I could, Mr. Olive, please have the teaching and learning team come join me in the center of the dais. That'd be great. Teaching and learning team.
Well, thank you so much for having me. My name is Amber Morrow, and I am the Executive Director of Partnerships with Arizona State University. Tonight, I am honored to present Chandler Unified School District with the Innovative District Award. The recipient of this year's Innovative District Award is a K-12 district that has demonstrated remarkable leadership in implementing pioneering solutions and transformative initiatives to enhance the overall education experience. The district has strategically driven positive change, optimizing resources, and leveraging innovative practices to address the diverse needs of students, teachers, and the broader community. The Chandler Unified School District is receiving the 2023 Innovative District Award in recognition of their unwavering dedication to education. Their commitment to professional development has fostered continuous growth, while their embrace of blended learning practices has shaped and reshaped education. They've also reimagined educational experiences for students and forged strong community partnerships to create early intersections for college and career pathways, even at an elementary level. We are honored to present them with this well-deserved award. I congratulate Chandler Unified School District on receiving the 2023 Innovative District Award.
You all have it one night. You weren't supposed to hear that. Thank you so much. It's awesome. And thank you for all the support.
All right. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. All right, that's wonderful. That's good news. Next, we get to do our Native American Heritage Month presentation. Dr. Salou is going to lead us in that.
And her family, her father and her grandmother, 3 generations there. My name is Anthony Shirley, and I am the Native American Engagement Specialist for the Chandler Unified School District. So I just want to say thank you to Amaya Antone and her family.
Hello, my name is McKelvin Arsdale. I will be your MC for the evening. I'm a junior at ACP High School, and I am an Navajo. Okay, so I would like to start off with our land acknowledgement, which will be presented by a Chandler High School student, Markayla Shirley.
The Chandler Unified School District acknowledges that the district is located on the ancestral land of the Tana Atam, Gila River, Salt River, Pima, Maricopa, and Yaqui tribes. CUSD further acknowledges that Arizona is home to 22 tribal nations that comprise 27% of Arizona's total land base. CUSD recognizes the sovereignty of these nations and seeks to foster an environment of success and possibility for Indigenous students. CUSD is committed to academic success, and we pledge to continue and expand this work.
All right, next to our proclamation, which will be presented by a student from Hamilton High School, Malaysia John.
Yat she'e Malaysia John yanishia ma idish gijni nishle tatna zani bashishi totsoni dashache sadish gijni dashanella beke bahozane de nasha. I am Indigenous Excellence. A proclamation of the Chandler Unified School District of the City of Chandler, Arizona, proclaiming the month of November 1st to November 30th as Native American Heritage Month. Whereas Native American and Indigenous heritage is an essential part of American history and should be studied throughout the year and since 1990 in the United States of America. November 1st to November 30th has been designated as a month for recognizing and celebrating the history, contributions, and influence of Native Americans and Indigenous heritage. Whereas the vision of Chandler Unified School District is an environment where our diverse population is a strength and a spirit of equity, equality, collaboration, and response permeates our community. Now, therefore, I, Malaysia John, senior at Hamilton High School in the Chandler Unified School District, do hereby proclaim the month November 1st to November 30th, 2023 as Native American Heritage Month and urge all Chandler and Arizona residents to celebrate the rich history, culture, and contributions of those of Native American and Indigenous culture and communities.
May I have Mr. Narducci and Mr. Hickey? Can you please come to the front? Next, we will be honoring a CUSD staff member, Sandra Casus from Hill Academy.
Woo, Sandra.
I don't know if we have the blanket. Sandra Casus truly embodies the phrase "and then some" that Mr. Narducci mentioned when he kicked off this year with the CUSD staff. She works as the cafe manager at Chief Hill, but means so much more to our staff and students. She takes an interest in getting to know all of our students and their needs. She is also very passionate about providing extra support to aid the success of our Native American students on campus who may have unique needs. She is a mentor and an advocate for students. She connects with our families and communities and always ensures that our kids' minds, stomachs, and hearts are full each day. We truly appreciate that Sandra does her job to the highest extent and then some. Thank you, Sandra.
Sandra, as you know, we have individuals that stand out, and as I say, the and then some is what's needed from all of us in this room to be able to chart the pathway of success for every single child. And that doesn't mean just doing our job or just being a parent or just doing our civic organization, but it has to be that and then some. And when I heard that you not only do your job and do it well, but that you check on kids doing homework and making sure that they are prepared and that they're prepared to be successful for that day, that's the and then some that it takes. I'd like to present with you a certificate of recognition for the and then some award. And then we have a personal thing from my wife and I as we give these out, a bracelet for you to wear that says, and then some, just to remind you. So there's that, and there's your certificate.
Thank you. And also in our culture, we give a blanket with a shawl for women being in the leadership role. So we're gonna go ahead and robe you with that. And then a necklace. This necklace we donated on behalf of our Indigenous Parent Committee, the officers. Thank you, Sandra.
Skoden, Skoden. Okay, thank you, Sandra. Next, on to honoring Native American CUSD teachers and staff. Our student presenter will be Ilana Wilburn.
Hi, my name is Ilana Wilborn, and I am Indigenous Excellence. Today we are honoring CUSD honors and celebrates all of the Indigenous teachers and staff members.
Next, presentation of seniors. This student presenter from Basha High School, Drew Anton Alvarez.
Hi, I'm Drew Antone, and I am Indigenous Excellence. First up, we have Ian Mowry with the Chickasaw Nation. Next, we have Taj Bennett with the Navajo Nation. Next, we have Layla Totachini with the Navajo Nation. Next, we have Juliana Goldtooth with the Navajo Nation. Next up, we have John Berry II for the National Indigenous People Recognition Award. Next, we have Kavan Zani for the Navajo Nation. Shanoa Williams with the Navajo Nation. Sydney Hawkins with the Cherokee Nation. Last but not least, Cipriana Miles for with the Indian Gila River community. That is all. Thank you.
Okay. Now for our closing piece from Avery Hubble and Ilana Wilburn.
Yate, good evening. My name is Avery Hubble. First, I'd like to give a big thank you to the board for giving us the opportunity, time, and space for this event. And another thank you to all our Indigenous students and staff for coming out and sharing this wonderful moment with us. Thank you all for coming out tonight to come celebrate Indigenous Heritage Month. Another big thank you for this big opportunity. Thank you. Ahiahet.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much. Ahiahat.
All right, thank you very much, guys. We appreciate you coming out and seeing us. Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I was kidding.
Come in. Yeah. That's good. Put those on there. All right, thank you for coming and seeing us, everybody. While everybody's filing out, we'll get ready to hear the student body president report from Lexi Moreno at Chandler High School. Thank you, guys. Whenever you're ready, Lexi.
All right. Good evening, Mr. Olive, Mr. Narducci, board members, and all those in attendance. Thank you for having me this evening. My name is Lexi Moreno, and I have the honor of being the student body president at Chandler High School this year. Thank you so much for the opportunity to report on all the events and activities that have happened at Chandler so far this semester. While we are not so far into the school year, so much has happened in this first semester, and including the second quarter. We had our first assembly of the school year in September with a Ohana theme featuring our fall sports: badminton, cross country, swim and dive, golf, volleyball, football, unified flag football, and cheer and tennis. Our students had a blast participating in grade level tug of war, relay races, with seniors obviously taking first place. Our Blue Crew Hype Men team also did a fantastic job in keeping up the school spirit alive all throughout the year, making sure that our events and games are enjoyable. Our homecoming week was by far the most exciting, jam-packed with lunchtime activities, a spirit week, and a spirit parade on Friday. The theme for this year's homecoming was Enchanted Bayou, aka Princess and the Frog. The floats in our parade displayed this theme in their own creative ways, with floats from various sports, clubs, and grade levels. The parade route circles campus for all those to see the displays of art and school spirit. At our homecoming game, we crowned our senior royalty at halftime, voted for by students. The theme for the game was Blackout. With stands packed and energy high, our football team came out triumphant against Highland. Our homecoming dance was just as exciting, with 1,200 people in attendance. Every year we get more positive feedback, and I'm sure next year's will be even better. Our athletes have also been doing great this season. Our swim and dive had several state finalists: Lucas Lebrand, Eleni Ika, Trenton Hun, Amias Hollister Ivanich, and Tristan Cordell. Badminton singles player Emily Chow competed in the badminton state tournament, representing us proudly. Also at state was Kendra McCollum and Alina Nguyen. Our girls' flag football team also had a remarkable season, going 11-1 and attending playoffs. Our nationally recognized football team is also 8-2 with our first playoff game this Friday. I encourage you all to attend. Make-A-Wish Week, as we call it at Chandler High, is a week full of fun events leading up to our rivalry game against Hamilton, and it surely did not disappoint this year. Our council planned lunchtime activities all week to help raise money with Hamilton for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. In addition to the activities, we went around classrooms for class donations and created shirts for the game, with all proceeds going to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. This year, we also partnered with Raising Cane's for a fundraising night. In total, we brought in over $7,500. The theme for the game was a blue out with a blue powder toss at the beginning, and with high attendance and energy from the stands, we came out with a win. At halftime, me and Hamilton's president, Brooklyn, presented the check along with a Canes representative. Our Wolves came out on top with our first win over Hamilton in 3 years to end our regular season. As you can see with the band member on our push-up stand for our amount of touchdowns, the enthusiasm can be felt around campus as we prepare for our playoff game against Highland this Friday. Our clubs around campus have also been nothing short of having an amazing year. Yesterday, our National Honor Society partnered with Red Cross for a blood drive donation for all students and staff to participate. Our speech and debate team is also off to a great season, with President Raihan El-Haldri placing third in the poetry event at their first tournament and second place at their second tournament. The team is continuing to work and compete, looking forward to placing at state next year in March. Recently, our Model United Nations team also held their first, attended their first conference. They're working very hard preparing for the upcoming trip to Boston to compete in the Harvard Conference in January. What would all these achievements and events mean without somebody to report on them? Absolutely nothing. But luckily, our newspaper has been amazing this year, with 2 issues out so far and the next in December. You can check it out online at thewolfhowl.com. As seen right there is our first issue. They've been recently fundraising for their first trip to the National Journalism Conference in Kansas City next April. Just to highlight one club, recently FFA went to nationals in Indianapolis, competing in the National FFA Convention and Expo. They placed gold in parliamentary procedure and made it to semifinals in agricultural business, where they placed bronze, and in floriculture they placed silver. We're beyond proud of them for representing us nationally, and our agricultural program is truly one of the best amongst high schools in Arizona. Our fine arts has also been doing spectacular this year. Their fall play this year was Bethel Park Falls, an extraordinary production. Our actors and crew worked so hard to put together these shows, and they never fail to amaze us. This month, Ms. Likes, their theater director, and CHS Theater won a $2,500 grant from the Fiesta Bowl Wishes for Teachers program. It's a well-deserved award for them as they look to their next production. Our band has also been unstoppable. The Wolfpack Pride Marching Band had a 3rd place finish and a 70.15 score at their first competition. We love to see those who cheer us on and bring the music to every event be recognized. Our dance department is quite enchanting this year. Their fall concert takes place tonight and tomorrow with the theme Enchanted. I recently had the opportunity of viewing a practice concert to take pictures for our school newspaper, and I was blown away. The amount of talent and precision this team puts into their art is incredible, and I encourage you all to attend the concert tomorrow evening. I'd like to recognize a few remarkable students of ours who go above and beyond. Chandler High is home to the Arizona International Baccalaureate Student of the Year, Kyle DeRozier. In addition to being an IB student, he's also NHS president of Letters for Rose, a club that writes to letters to elderly communities in assisted living, IB Vice President, and a member of Model UN. Andrew Phillips is also a National Merit semifinalist, representing less than 1% of the nation's high school and graduating seniors. In addition to his hard work academically, Andrew is president of Math Club and a news editor for our school newspaper. I'd also like to congratulate Noah Levine for being this year's Chandler High School recipient of the Battle for Arizona Avenue Chandler Rotary Scholarship, awarded for service above self. He's truly an exceptional member of our football team and community. Mateo Rodriguez was nominated as one of the Hispanic football athletes to represent Arizona. While maintaining a schedule of all AP classes and football, he's also on our Player Leadership Council, dedicated to fostering success for all athletes. Senior Kennedy Hayes was one of the 20 players selected to play at the All-American flag football team in the U.S. Army Bowl this upcoming December. She's a champion both on and off the field, with a schedule of all IB classes and an art club officer. The students at Chandler High continue to raise the standards, always representing our school honorably. And now, just looking forward, DECA will have their Winter Wonderland Festival coming right up, which everybody loves to attend, as well as our Winter Assembly this Friday and an FFA barbecue. None of this would be possible, and any of these events that we do would be possible without my student council. So I'd just like to introduce them briefly, really quick. They'll just come up and line up right here. There's a lot of us, sorry, it might take a little bit.
There's a lot of folks. While they're still filing in, I wanted to tell you guys, thank you for coming down. It's wonderful to have you all down here. Yeah.
All right. Alrighty. First, I'd like to recognize our student body vice president, Kendall McCollum, who I mentioned earlier for going to state for badminton. A really good player. Next, I'd like to mention our student body spirit commissioner, Miss Isis Smith. And next, I'd like to introduce our spirit body secretary, McKenna Callahan. Our student body publicity manager, Reese Canton. Our student, there's so many of them. Our community outreach for student body, Chiara Pantronelli. And Emily Pena. Next up, we have our senior class. Our junior class. Our sophomore class. Our biggest one by far. And our freshman class. And I'd also like to recognize our advisors. Mr. Hunt couldn't be here tonight. He lives far away. But here tonight we do have Miss Amanda Oshman with us. And I truly do love this council and so much. They've done so much in the semester. There's a lot of new faces. Many of them came in unexperienced, have never done anything in student council before. But they're all remarkable. I'm unbelievably proud of them and how much they've done. And they show up with so much enthusiasm every day. So I'm just proud of them. And thank you guys for this opportunity to present. And I'll see you next year when I present again.
That's great. Thank you very much, Lexi. Thank you, everybody, for coming down.
Have a good night.
All right. That was good. Next, we have our new administrator introductions by Mr. Narducci.
Yes, I'm excited about this. Governing board members, we're bringing back a tradition that CUSD did for many years prior to the pandemic. And tonight we are introducing to you to new CUSD leaders who have recently joined our district or been promoted within. I'm also doing this too because you asked me to bring it back. So thank you very much for having us do this. And so each board meeting, we'll try to bring a few more people in front of you so you know who really is the secret behind our sauce, and these are our people. So Scott Vandermillen, I'd like to start with first, and for the people that are coming up, you can introduce those that are with you here tonight. That way we know a little bit more about you, if you just want to say a couple of words to the board. Scott Vandermillen is the Director of Community Education in CUSD. He began his role in April of this year after 7 years in Minnesota, directing a joint city school community services department. As you know, in the Midwest, community education really is done by the cities, and they work in partnership with the schools. Scott earned his MS degree in leadership and administration from Northern State University in Aberdeen, South Dakota. A native Iowan, Scott holds 30-plus years of experience in education as a teacher, coach, and administrator. He's a strong believer in CUSD's core values and is committed to sustaining and enhancing the leading-edge community education programs and services for CUSD students. This is a department that works 24/7, and Scott is always up for the opportunity to serve our community, and we sure do appreciate that. We had to go all the way to Minnesota to find this excellence, and so Scott, we appreciate you coming.
Stand up, Scott, so we can see who you are. Oh, sorry.
Thank you for having me. I'd like to introduce my wife, Kim. And thank you, Mr. Narducci, for having me tonight. It's my night to cook, so got me off the hook. But really enjoy being here. Got a fantastic staff. Left in good hands by Steph Howell. But again, we're thoroughly enjoying it here and very thankful to be here. Thank you.
Okay, so I do have to ask the question, do we sell the house back there yet? Because I need to know if I'm keeping you. Yeah.
All right.
That was an important deal, folks. You have to know that. Selling a house in the Midwest isn't really easy. So welcome, and again, welcome to the family. I'd like next to talk a little bit about Erica Castorena. Erica is our new principal of Shumway Leadership Academy. Erica started her educational career in CUSD. She was an intermediate teacher at CTA Humphrey and a dean of students both at Hartford Sylvia Encinas and Shumway Leadership Academy. Erica's why in education is fueled by making decisions to do what is best for students and to cultivate an environment where they are given the tools to break down barriers and reach their goals. As the Shumway principal, she says it is her top priority to build strong relationships with students, families, and the community to foster a learning environment that encourages positivity, happiness, and academic growth. Welcome, Erica.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board, and Mr. Narducci for the honor to serve the Shumway community. I look forward to building on Shumway's traditions, as Dr. Brenner has created tons, so thank you for paving the way and beginning new ones. I brought with me my husband, my husband Hugo, our son Ezra. We are proud Chandler residents, and even more proud to be part of the CUSD family. Thank you again for this opportunity.
Thank you, Erica. And Erica, I don't know if you remember about 12 or 13, maybe it was 14 years ago. I was visiting the campus, and you came running down from your portable ramp, and you said, "Tell me a little bit more about leadership opportunity." Do you remember this conversation? I would love. So you predicted this 14 years ago. There you go. So dreams do come true. There you go. Wait, that's a little marketing right there, folks. Or was that communication, or was that public relations? I don't know, one of the three. Greg Milbrandt, I'd like to recognize at this time. He's our new principal at Chandler High School. His career includes various roles that reflect his dedication to students and the educational community. Greg began as a social studies teacher, psychology and physical education teacher, and coach at Arizona Boys Ranch, where he laid the foundation for his passion for teaching and mentorship. He later assumed the role of Dean of Students and J.O. Combs. Notably, Greg served for 3 years as the head of school for Sunshine Acres Children's Home in Mesa. He then took on the role of assistant principal at Desert Mountain High School in Scottsdale and served as principal of Desert Mountain for 8 years. For the last 2 years, Greg worked at the Mesa district office as the district's Title IX coordinator and hearing officer. As principal of Chandler High School, Greg Milbrandt remains dedicated to his passion for education, character development, and fostering a nurturing environment where students can thrive. And I can attest he's already been involved in our community by joining Rotary and making a big difference there as well every Tuesday. So welcome, Greg.
Thank you, Mr. Narducci and the governing board. I appreciate the opportunity here at Chandler. I didn't bring, my wife was not able to join us this evening, but I did bring my student council. So they were they were here in her stead. So, but I appreciate the opportunity. I feel like I am home. And that was the one thing when Mr. Narducci welcomed me. He said, welcome home. And I do feel like I am part of the Chandler family. So thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Greg. And last but not least, I'd like to introduce Bianca Todd, who is our new principal at new but not new, at CTA Humphrey and Elite Performance Academy. This is her 11th year in Chandler Unified School District and 6th in administration at Humphrey campus. Humphrey campus has truly become her home away from home. Bianca received a master's degree from Grand Canyon University and played Division I soccer for Arizona State University. I said that with clarity, didn't I? There you go. For you, I'm going to say that, go Devils, okay. And is a proud, except for when we play you, okay? And is a proud current Chandler resident. Bianca has little boys who are 5 and 3, and she can't wait to send them to Chandler Unified Public Schools. I think I put that in there, but if you do, you can shout it out too.
Yes, for sure.
Welcome.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Mr. President, members of the board, Mr. Narducci, and the cabinet for this opportunity. Like I said, I've been fortunate enough to call Humphrey my family for the last 6 years, so I truly just look forward to supporting them and serving them for hopefully years to come. I brought my husband, Patrick. We did not bring our little boys. They'd be all over the place here. But yes, they're 5 and 3, and really we look forward to sending them to Chandler Public Schools. One is already attending pre-K, and it's been a great experience. So thank you all.
Thank you, Bianca. And I know all of you have so much to do in schools to get back to early in the morning, so feel free to leave when you want to, or stay for a little meeting. But again, board members, we will have others that have joined us and catch up. And as you know, we hire the best, and we're so proud. They hit the ground running, and in Chandler, you have to hit the ground running to keep up. And so we're very proud of this class of hires.
All right, wonderful. That brings us to the end of our new administrator introductions, and now we get to do our superintendent current events. Can you take us through that, Frank?
I'll take care of that as well.
All right.
Sure, that sounds great. I will start with President, all of board members. We were pleased to receive the announcement that CUSD is an A-rated district. We received our letter grades, and 40 out of 45 of our schools received A's or B's, which is an astonishing 90% of schools in our district. In addition, we received 7 more A's this year in our district than last year. The number of A-rated schools is a record for CUSD, as you saw in the earlier presentation. So we're really happy about that, especially post-pandemic. We've returned to even higher levels of accolade in the achievement area. Additionally, CUSD has been recognized as a 2024 Best School District by Niche. This year, we ranked number 1 in the Best Schools District in Arizona category, and U.S. News and World Report just ranked 28 of our Chandler Unified Schools among the nation's best. While we've always have known that CUSD is a wonderful place to learn and grow, we're so proud of our students, dedicated staff, and supportive community for everything that is provided, either state or national, in recognition. Doesn't mean that we can't improve. We can always do better, and we can always do and then some. But it's kind of nice to know that that recognition is there for such a large district, especially the second largest in the state. Earlier this month, Hull Elementary and Knox Gifted Academy were named CS 100 schools. Both campuses have made a remarkable commitment to computer science education, seamlessly integrating it not only within dedicated technology programs, but also across grade level classrooms. Their dedication to providing a minimum of 10 hours, of computer science education to every student, aligning with recognized standards, and has led them to each to this prestigious award. So again, congratulations to both schools. Yesterday was National Ruby Bridges Walk to School Day. Many schools across the nation and several CUSD schools participated. 6-year-old Ruby Bridges stepped into the history books in 1960 and she was the first Black student who was integrated into William Franz Elementary School in New Orleans, becoming a national icon for the civil rights movement. Today, her story continues to inspire the next generation of leaders one step at a time, and reminds us that high-quality education and programs must be accessible to all. I'd like you to see just a little video of some of the events that occurred.
The video might not be working. I apologize.
If not, you probably saw it on the news, and if not, you can go back to Channel 15, Channel 10, Channel 12, because they all covered it, so you can stream it on their websites. Also, CUSD schools did an amazing job honoring our veterans on Thursday, November 9th. Our students and staff hosted a variety of patriotic performances and celebrations. We'll take a look, or I'll give some filler time there.
Go to the next story, please.
Okay, I will go to the next story. Please join me in celebrating the Chandler Education Foundation. The foundation has been the premier educational nonprofit partner for over 3 decades, and whose efforts directly support opportunities for our students and staff. Recent fundraising efforts through deliberate work of the CEF led to the distribution of $75,000 in enrichment grants to benefit Chandler Unified School District students, schools, and teachers. These grants awarded by the CEF's own Woohoo Patrol. And the only reason it's called Woohoo is because that's what you say when you're celebrating. You go woohoo, right? So it's called the Woohoo Patrol. Also, Publishers Clearinghouse told us not to call it, what do they call their thing? Prize Patrol. So we got a cease and desist that said stop it like 20 years ago. So that's why it's the Woohoo Patrol. Will enhance access, innovation, and excellence in CUSD classrooms. And they do a phenomenal job. And it wasn't signed by Ed McMahon, for those that might remember that in the audience, right? Okay, all right. As we enter this, this Saturday is Turkey Food Box Distribution Day for the Chandler Care Center, and there's still time to donate. The Care Center hopes to provide food bags to 400 Chandler families. Here's a list of items that are needed, turkeys especially. Call 480-812-7900 for donation, location, and instructions. That's 480-812-7900. And that's a list, if you can see it from that far away, but canned food, cereals, just a whole host of box things, mashed potato types of things, just what you would serve at your family for dinner. They just need it in its raw form. So if you can drop it off there, it would be helpful. Do we have that video?
We can go get the video. Stand by. We can do it.
If not, we can put it up on our website, right? We had lots of schools and a lot of veterans at our schools, a lot of programming, very patriotic at the elementaries, the junior highs, and at the high schools. So it's amazing how what a great job that they do, and just seeing the amount of the veterans that show up and get recognized, it just brings a tear to your eye when you see the service above self that was given by many of our citizenry who went to work for who went to serve for the armed forces, and being celebrated as veterans. So hopefully we all have that time to give recognition to a veteran. And as we enter this season of gratitude, I want to express my heartfelt appreciation to all of you who paved the way for success for our students' lives. Your dedication and then some is truly invaluable, and it's the only way that we can move forward. So thank you all who become educational partners, whether you're a parent, whether you're a community agency, whether you're a nonprofit, whether you're a business, whether you're one of our chambers, whether you're one of our 3 towns or municipalities, all of you in this room, you need to be either connected to student success or not connected at all. And so thank you very much for all that you do. We appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, Frank. Next, we get to our citizen comments. This is the time for the public to comment. Members of the board may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to ARS 38-431.01H, at the conclusion of the open call to the public, individual members of the public body may respond to criticism made by those who have addressed the public body, may ask staff to review a matter, or may ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. However, members of the public body shall not discuss or take legal action on matters raised during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. Tonight we have 5 people. We'll have 3 minutes apiece. First, we'll get to Kathy Melamed. Do we have timekeeper for tonight?
Hello.
All right, there we go.
Mr. President and Mr. Narducci and the board and staff and fellow citizens, good evening. I'm Kathy Melamed with Valley Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Chandler, a member institution of the Valley Interfaith Project, VIP. VIP leaders are here. We number 11, I believe, tonight, and we're very honored and pleased to be here in the spirit of Thanksgiving to thank the board and the district for the work you have done on mental health issues over the last year. Back in March, VIP gathered 130 people to urge the district to take a more proactive approach to youth mental health, including hiring more social workers, holding events for parents and students to teach mental health and mental distress warning signs, to offer resources, and we asked to begin calls to check in with students with extended unexplained absences. We thank the district for implementing all of these requests. Just last night, VIP again gathered nearly 100 leaders to thank Board President Olive and Natasha Davis for their leadership. We also want to gratefully acknowledge Dr. Gilbert's leadership on this issue. We are hearing from students, parents, and professionals that the culture around suicide prevention is changing in the Chandler school community. While there is still so much to do, your work is absolutely saving lives. While we continue to organize locally in Chandler around mental health concerns, as well as around affordable housing, VIP is also in conversation with state leaders, including Governor Hobbs's office, about how to increase and improve access to mental health care generally, both in the school setting and outside of it. We welcome your input as we continue these conversations. Thank you, and thank you so much for the opportunity to speak gratefully to you this evening.
All right. Thank you. Next, we get to Maya. I'm sorry, I can't read your last name. Unity?
Mr. President and members of the board, my name is Maya Letty, and I am the Deputy Director of Arizona Students for Mental Health. For over a year now, we have been coming to the school board asking for a partnership between us and the district. By reaching out to the board, we have created many companionships with not only the board, but many other organizations that were willing to help. In May of 2022, we came to the board knowing that what we were asking for might be difficult to achieve and that some of the requests would take a lot of effort and money to achieve. However, we can say without a doubt that we have noticed a significant change on campus. Organizations like Valley Interfaith Project and Arizona Students for Mental Health asked the district for events held to educate communities on mental health resources, as well as wellness checks for students with extended absences. We also asked for more social workers in schools and to implement a student advisory board. All of these requests were met. Another great accomplishment was the Hope Institute. The Hope Institute has provided care for 60 students with suicidal ideation since September 4th. That is 60 students whose lives have been potentially saved. The changes that have been made for our district have been directed towards the needs of students and staff. The support for mental health on campus has increased greatly, and to that, we couldn't be more thankful. The students, faculty, and all the organizations surrounding this commend the board for their great efforts. I have been coming to the board since, like I said, late May, and I'm not gonna say it's been easy, but it is so great and such a full circle moment to see everything finally coming together and meeting so many great people that support this cause, meeting all of the board members that support this cause. It's just great. So thank you on behalf of my organization and me for the support towards this cause.
All right, thank you. Next, we get to Kim Mundis.
Minutes, yeah? Yes, great, okay. Tom Horn recently spoke at a special interest groups event attended by Mr. Roars, where he claimed Chandler has eliminated AP courses and adopted equity math. As a brief aside, maybe now we understand the recent math hysteria a little better, huh? Yeah. I sent 5 emails about these alleged changes, each time directing my questions and concerns to Mr. Roars, specifically since he was there. He has completely ignored me. Administration has cooperated with fact-checking efforts. I'm grateful for that. Mr. Roars has declined to cooperate in them. Weird. I was glad to see the course catalog on tonight's agenda. Chandler has some of the best programs in the state. Mr. Horn's lies are harmful, and Mr. Roars ignoring me is unacceptable. So, in a different tactic, I will now publicly rephrase my concerns by piecing together Mr. Roars' own words from speeches he gave at this very podium before being elected to that seat after campaigning on involving parents. Here goes. I'm here to speak about transparency and improving communications with the public. Parents are not your enemies, nor should they be considered a threat. A reasonable expectation is the district works cooperatively with parents. The real threats are special interest groups. Certain staff do not agree with parents' rights. A tactic is renaming curriculum to mislead parents. This indicates a deliberate contempt for parents' rights in direct violation of ARS 1, Section 602. Parents have concerns about indoctrination of school curriculum. The way out is to provide critical thinking tools to our students. To do this, they must have factual presentation of material. The board holds parents in contempt as foolish and ignorant. The intent seems to be to ignore their concerns. Instead, please respond with transparency. That would be the right thing to do. We will not be ignored. We will speak truths. A half a truth is a whole lie. Explain to us what you were doing. This should be the level of transparency expected. There should be no reason to conceal anything. Please increase the transparency and improve cooperation with concerned parents. The lack of transparency is concerning. Some people consider this an attempt to obfuscate issues. Reinforce the requirements for teachers to stick to curriculum they were hired to teach, not to promote their own personal political
30
views.
seconds.
Maintain positive relationships with parents. The district exists in a competitive environment. There are those that shy away from concerns and insist on special protections for their own self-interest. It is disappointing they may not have the confidence in their abilities to be recognized as the best choice. Now, Mr. Roars, if you would like, I can send this evening a file with date and timestamps of every time that you said this. And I will, as soon as I get answers.
Time
to
has
my emails.
elapsed.
All right, thank you, Ms. Mundis. Next, we get to Zena Prushahovsky.
Good evening. My name is Zena Prushanovsky. Thank you for allowing me to speak this evening, board members and Mr. Narducci. I am a certified Arizona teacher. I'm currently on the Gila River, so this evening's event was very special to me in my heart, as I've been serving Native American children for 7 years now. I'm also a parent of CUSD. My daughter did graduate, and my son is currently attending CUSD schools. I heard earlier your discussion briefly on ideas, how to promote making sure that the community understands budget overrides and bonds. Since they didn't fare too well here in the East Valley, I would recommend that CUSD would be proactive in recognizing publicly where the monies are spent in the form of like a public display of thanks in front of the schools where if you're not doing it already, where the improvements are being made. Consider advertising the projects that overrides and bonds contribute to making this an A+ district. An example would be to publicly thank the supporters for the voters who are supporting the bond and overrides for the Navarrete flooring replacement. That's approximately $500,000 for that project. And so where I teach recently, we received a whole brand new campus, and that's really exciting. Those improvements really promote positive learning experiences for all staff and for the students. So please consider educating the community and promoting that more, which I'm sure you're considering that for the future funding needs. This is an important issue to make sure that the vote for public education counts on the ballot, so we can keep continuing celebrating the educational successes that CUSD has in our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Prusinowski. Next, we get to Brett Wingate.
Good evening. I wanted to speak on the subject of free speech. And the reason for that is that at the very last board meeting, I was a bit stunned. And I was stunned by a couple of current students at the district that came forward and advocated removing the speech rights of other students. And it dawned on me that there may be a real lack of civic understanding that we are developing in our students. I mean, the real core that makes America unique is the fact that we allow free expression, we allow free thought, and we allow free speech. And all of those make for a dynamic tension that allows us to get the best idea out there. Another example of that is the young lady that was just a couple minutes before me here. She has an opinion on math and maybe a speech that was not to her liking, but I've heard a number of other parents that have real concerns about the math curriculum and insertion of ideas that they didn't think were conducive to teaching good math. And it's okay to have a disagreement. It's okay to have an expression that says, I don't agree with you, and let's have a conversation why, and do it in public. You shouldn't talk down to somebody, but at the same time, you shouldn't have to stay silent. And so with that in mind, I wanted to encourage the district to really rethink how it teaches its students, in general, the civics, because to come forward and request that you shut down the speech rights of other students because you feel uncomfortable is it's not the American way. It's basically is not conducive to free thought and to the best solutions. You are doing the best job you can do given the information you have. The only way you get better information is by listening and accepting. Some of it will not be as good as others, but that's where discernment comes in, and the only solution to impaired speech is more speech, as Thomas Jefferson said. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Just a point of information, just want to make clear to the public that Title 20 of the U.S. Code, Section 471, prohibits the discrimination of student clubs based on religious or political beliefs. So what those students suggested is illegal in this country. And your comment about them not understanding the civics is really disappointing. If they're educated in our district, they should know that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Roars. Next, we get to our consent agenda. Mr. Narducci, could you present the consent agenda?
Sure can. President, all of the members of the governing board, I present the consent agenda as published for your approval.
Okay. Since it's published, we could get a motion on the table to vote on this consent agenda.
I move we approve the consent agenda.
Could I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda as published, please say aye.
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 Okay, thank you. That carries. Next, we're going to Mr. Dunn. We're going to talk about the turf conversion, Phase 2 at Chandler, Hamilton, Perry.
Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board, Mr. Narducci. I bring to you GMP number 3 for Phase 2 of the turf fields. The district is seeking to convert 5 of the high school fields to synthetic turf. Phase 2 will be Chandler High School, Hamilton High School, and Perry High School. Scope of work will include removal of natural turf, installation of synthetic turf, cooling infill and shock pad, as well as a storm drain system. An RFQ was issued. Core Construction was selected as the general contractor of record. The district has negotiated guaranteed maximum price for Phase 2 for Chandler, Hamilton, and Perry High Schools in the amount of $7,628,625, which the district believes is fair and reasonable given the current market conditions. Recommend approval of core construction for the turf conversion at Chandler, Hamilton, and Perry High Schools in the amount of $7,628,625.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Dunn. For us to talk about this, we need to get a motion on the table. Could I get a motion?
Mr. President, I move to recommend approval of core construction for the turf conversion at Chandler, Hamilton, and Perry High Schools in the amount of $7,628,625.
Okay, thank you. Could I get a second, please?
Second.
All right, thank you. Is there any discussion on this? Mr. Roars?
We've talked about this before. My understanding is that there is a maximum approved, I think, maybe $14.3 million. Is that correct?
You have the total amount, Mr. Dunn. I
Yeah,
apologize
the
with you.
total amount, if this were to be approved, would be $14,572,793.
Okay. So this is not going to push us above that. This is within the original amount that was approved.
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any other questions? All right, go ahead.
Just a quick question on the, I guess, the longevity of this turf, this artificial turf. As how long is it guaranteed for? How long before it starts deteriorating to the point where it starts breaking apart and things like that? Because eventually that will happen.
That's correct.
So how long is that lifetime?
Yep, 8 to 10 years is a typical lifespan, especially in Arizona. We'll do regular maintenance of the infill, which is the sand and the geo infill. So we'll be replacing that and adding to each year, but 8 to 10 years on the actual turf. And that replacement is significantly less than this initial work because we're having to do so much work on the subbase, storm drainage, running electrical, those types of things. So in 8 to 10 years, it'll just be a carpet replacement, basically.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, does anyone else have any other questions? If not, then we'll go ahead and vote on this one. All those in favor of the motion as presented, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
I abstain.
All right, thank you. All right, next we have approval of the I-20 tuition amount for fiscal year 24-25. Ms. Berry.
Right. Mr. President, members of the board, children of non-residents of this country documented as I-20 students may be admitted upon payment of a reasonable tuition fixed by the governing board under Arizona Revised Statutes 15-823. In the past, the governing board set tuition for incoming I-20 students using a method that determined the cost per student. The formula methodology took into consideration the Maintenance and Operations Fund, the Classroom Site Fund, Unrestricted Capital Outlay Fund, and federal and state project funds, divided by the total student count to establish a tuition price per I-20 student. After applying the same methodology and formula, the past with updated numbers due to inflation and the restoration of district additional assistance, the administration is recommending the fiscal year 24-25 tuition rate to be adjusted to $10,857. Request approval of tuition rates for I-20 students at $10,875 for fiscal year 24-25 fiscal year.
All right, thank you, Ms. Berry. For us to talk about this one, we need to get a motion on the table. Could I get a motion, please?
I move to approve tuition rates for I-20 students at $10,857 for our fiscal year 2024 through 2025.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion on this item?
I have a couple questions. Mrs. Berry, approximately how many I-20 students do we have annually?
Well, that's a great question. We actually, Dr. Gilbert and I go through this. We have 3 this year, 3 in fiscal year 24. We had 8 last year, but 2 withdrew, so there were 6. And the year before, we had 5 students.
Okay, so it's just a handful.
Just a few, yes.
Okay.
They're on I-20 vouchers that get approved through the federal government.
Okay, and then the other question is, how does this tuition compare to what we had previously?
Great question, too. So in the past, we were at $9,248. So with the increase in restoration of district additional assistance and the increase last year, as you know, we got inflation plus the one-time amount, but with all of those increases. Now, remember, this amount doesn't include things like the food nutrition, like if they purchase their lunch, that's part of it. We don't charge them for that or, take an average cost of that because they have to pay for that. If there's a fee that they have to participate in, they have to pay for that. So they still are charged. Those are other funds in our school district. We don't charge them for that because they would have to pay for those just like any student coming to our schools.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you. Does anyone else have any other questions? If not, we'll go ahead and entertain a vote. All those in favor of approval of the I-20 tuition amount for fiscal year 24-25, please say aye.
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 All right, thank you. Next, we're going to look at bus fleet replacements. That's you again, Mr. Dunn.
Good evening again. After careful review, research, the administration is recommending purchasing 30 buses from Bluebird and Canyon State. 10 84-passenger buses used for general education, transportation, 10 48-passenger buses that will include a wheelchair lift, and 10 Microbird 14-passenger buses that will be used for all of our transportation routes, door-to-door, stop-to-stop, as well as neighborhood. So recommend approval to purchase 30 buses in the amount of $5,612,575.75, utilizing the Mojave contract with Canyon State Bus Sales.
Okay, I move that we purchase 30 buses in the amount of $5,612,575.75.
Thank you. Could I get a second?
A second.
All right. Anybody has any discussion on it? Mr. Roars.
So, we've been trying to get buses for quite some time. And the lead times are
2 years.
substantial, 2 years. And I think we just took delivery of the last few buses that we ordered 2 years ago. So, of course, the obvious question is how long is it going to take us to get these buses?
These will be 2025 buses.
2 years. Okay. Thank you.
Ms. Mostyn.
So obviously, we're going to be replacing some of our old buses.
That's
and are those, I noticed on the Microbird passenger school buses, on that quote, there was an amount for trade-ins. Is that for all of the different buses that we're trading in, just on that one?
Correct. So they put them all in the 14. So the Microbirds will actually be new buses that we don't currently have. The law has changed. So we currently cannot have 14-passenger vans, but we can have 14-passenger buses. And so these are trust approved, but they also provide us with flexibility because you do not need a CDL to drive these 14-passenger.
Oh, that's
So
good.
there'll be yellow buses with stop arms, allowing us to do all routes per DPS, but won't require a CDL. So the trade-ins will go on that quote.
And how do you determine the trade-ins that we do? Is
Yeah,
it by mileage, or is it by age, or is it just when
Number
you
of
get a
repair-
lemon?
Number of repairs that we've made. Mr. Thiel and his team and mechanics were always, looking at the mileage, the wear and tear, and how much it would cost to get it road ready, and, that we'd want it to be to run the mileage that it needs. So we're always tracking our fleet mileage and repairs.
And can I ask kind of just a rough number as to, I guess, the mileage when we start looking at wanting to trade something in? When do they start breaking down typically?
Over 200,000 miles.
Over
typically on our
200,000.
trade-ins.
And that happens in about how many years usually?
That's a great question. I don't know, maybe Miss Berry would know that one.
It's typically 10. You would love to replace something in 10 years, but it's typically 10. But we run ours for longer than that sometimes if we can. Just
Okay.
like our HVAC units, there's a recommended time to change them out, but ultimately we take them as long as some of our older fleet does better than some of our newer fleet. I mean, we've seen that in our buses too, depending on the brands. So we've been very careful with which brands we're using and purchasing too because of that.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, I might have the dumbest question of all, but I need to ask it. Some of them have it in the line items that they have ACs, and some of them don't. They're all air conditioned, right?
Yes, they are all air.
Okay. All right. Does anybody else have any other questions? All right. All those in favor of approving purchase of buses as presented, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
I think that's everybody. Is that everybody? All right. Next, we have information items. Ms. Berry's going to take us through student activity.
The student activity, Mr. President, members of the board, the student activities, auxiliary report, and tax credit reports for the months ending July 23 through October 23 are provided for your review. And as you know, you're now getting auxiliary reports because we finished the AFR, and so now you're seeing the reports for 2023.
All right, thank you. Dr. Edgar, junior high school course catalog and high school course catalog is information items.
Mr. President, members of the board, attached is the draft of the 2024-2025 junior high school course catalog. Also attached is a list of new courses and a summary of updates and changes to the catalog. The catalog will be presented for approval at the December 13th, 2023 board meeting.
All right, thank you. That brings us to our roadmap, I believe.
We also have the high school catalog.
High school catalog.
But I have a comment.
I didn't do the high school yet, but
Go ahead with the high school.
Mr. President,
Yes.
members of the board, attached is the draft of the 2024-2025 high school course catalog. Also attached is a list of new courses and a summary of updates and changes to the catalog. The catalog will be presented for approval at the December 13th, 2023 board meeting.
All right, Barb.
I just wanted to comment on what I really like seeing in these courses in the course catalogs for both junior high and high school is the designated pathways for things like English language arts, social studies, science, math, and there was one other one too that I don't remember which one it was, but I find that science, sorry. And I find that very, very valuable, I think, for our parents so that they can look at when their child is taking something in 7th grade. In that 7th grade catalog, they can look all the way to high school as to what that is going to, where that can bring them. And since the high school catalog will also be online, anybody can go in and take a look at those pathways for their math if they say they want to have a certain course by the end of high school. They know exactly what they have to take to get there. And I think that's very, very beneficial, and I thank you for including that.
Thank you.
All right, that's great. Our next meeting is going to be on a roadmap. We have outstanding students. We have a DLI presentation by Dr. Edgar. We were going to talk about voting. We're going to vote on the junior and high school course catalogs. And we're going to look at budget revision number 1 for years 23-24. Coming up, we have an ASBA conference. I'm not sure who's going to that one for us. And we have a board planning session on the 15th, which is going to be policy. So lots of policy on the 15th. With that brings us to any board member current events that anybody has. Joel, would you like to go first?
I do. I attended 2 plays, one at Perry and one at Ryan, and it just happens my granddaughters were in both.
All right. Barb, do you have anything new today? I don't think so. Okay. Ms. Runo.
Tonight, I want to thank everyone who participated in the Native American Heritage Month presentation, especially our Indigenous Student Engagement Specialist leader that introduced herself, Antoinette Shirley. She really does do and then some, I would say, in our district. And I'd like to highlight something happening this Saturday. Basha High School will be hosting a community vendor fair taking place in their parking lot. That's this Saturday, November 18th, and it will be hosted by the BHS Si Se Puede and Ayudante Sociedad Hispana de Amistad groups. Our students will be sharing and selling their homemade arts, crafts, and creations. And one of those students happens to be a niece of mine. So please support our students who are out there as student vendors. We want to support their work. And she's actually also using this project as her senior Basha Gives Back project through a small business venture. So if you see Kayla's crafts and plushies for gift purchasing, please be kind and support. And then I want to echo Superintendent Narducci's call today to please consider donating to our Chandler Care to our Chandler Care Center for our Thanksgiving Family Assistance Day. We, in truth, did not meet our goal yet with the deadline. That's why we are making the call to the community to help us meet the needs of 430 families that need our help to make this special meal happen. So please stop by, make a donation, check with your colleagues and peers, and let's make sure we fulfill this promise. Thank you.
Kurt, do you have anything new?
Yeah, I was able to go to a few things since we didn't have two board meetings this month. But on the 30th, I was over at EVIT. They have a school board consortium breakfast where they bring in school board members from all over the East Valley. So we were able to meet with each other and discuss some current issues. The next morning, over at the Chandler Center for the Arts, there was an education forum that was sponsored by the Chandler Chamber of Commerce, which Mr. Narducci was on the panel to speak, and I thought it was a really, really good event. A couple days later, I was over at Perry High School in their Career Center. They had a student come in and talked about internships for students and what he had to go through to get those internships. And I thought it was a very valuable talk, senior student talking to the other students. Later that evening, Willis Junior High had their showcase, and that's where they bring in students for the elementary schools to introduce them to the Willis Junior High. And it was really well attended. It was very, very crowded. Then on the 8th, it was back to EVIT for their breakfast. It was a fundraiser. They had 200-300 people in the room for their fundraiser, so it was a very popular event for them. Next day over at Ryan, for the Sun Lakes Rotary Club, we delivered dictionaries to every third grader in the district, and the other Rotary clubs do participate in this, but that's a pretty fun time. You get to talk to the kids until they get the dictionaries in their hands, and then you can't get a word in edgewise because they're so excited to get their dictionary. That night, it was a very amazing event over at Basha High School. They had a cybersecurity program. Janet Hartkoff was the one who actually did that, and it, how do I say that? The things that she's doing over that program are amazing. I mean, I just cannot keep up with the amount of technology she's bringing in and teaching these kids, and these kids are really responding. So we had representatives from U of A and also from Chandler Gilbert Community College, and she has very good relationships with them as we kind of feed their programs. So it's an incredible effort, and you should be commended. A couple days later over at Navarrete, what they did is they collected toys and food for veteran families that are struggling. And they had a veterans club come by, and big event, had every kid in the school out there and filled up a huge trailer full of stuff like that. So, and again, that was a Veterans Day event for struggling veterans. Then, and this one was kind of tough to go to, a couple nights later at Perry High School, we had a forum on teen substance abuse. And there is an organization called Full Circle. It's a recovery program for teens. And for people that don't think we have drug problems in our schools, we have some very serious ones. And there was a young lady that talked, it was a high school student, and talked about her experience at length, about how she fell into addiction and how she got at it with the help of this program. So we don't talk about this a lot, and we probably should talk about it more, but it's a very, very dangerous thing for our kids. Last one. Actually, this morning we had a business advisory meeting, breakfast here, which I thought was really, really good. We could have had more people there. The one part I really liked about it is Patrick Brown is our new Director of Workforce Development, and gave a presentation that I thought was just spot on. The guy gets it. So pushing career development down into the schools, down to the junior high schools, and down to the elementary schools, so they understand what a career is, and start focusing them on a pathway so we can launch them out of this district into a career path that they can go on and make a very good living at. I think that has a lot to do with how we educated kids and turning them into productive adults. That would be the productive part. So, yeah, it's been busy, but I do appreciate all the events that we get invited to. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Kurt, you get the last word. Meeting adjourned.